Hello, classmates. Here today to talk to you about my field experience, and hope you enjoy. So, a little intro. I went to Deer Lodge, America, beautiful place in Montana, where I'm from. I love it, close to my heart. It was very cool to be there and kind of be in the school that I learned at and be able to teach the students here and give back a little bit. So I was in junior high. I going into that was with a math teacher, so I knew I had to pick kind of one class I wanted to focus on. I knew that it was a 7th grade class. I just didn't know what class of the 7th grade I wanted to do. There's 2 8th grade classes, 2 7th grade classes, and an algebra class. So when I wasn't working with the 7th grade class, I was always helping with algebra in the 8th grade class when we were co-teaching. So so I ended up picking the largest 7th grade math class that we had. So that was neat to get really good data on them. The significance, I thought it was very cool coming back home. I could relate to these students because not long ago I was also a student here at E.F. Duvall Junior High. And I know what it's like to grow up in Deer Lodge. It can be pretty dull at times and kind of a trap, if you want to say that. So I thought being able to relate to the students would have been a pretty cool part of this experience. Next slide, some contextual factors. Community. I knew going into this, the poverty rate was going to be pretty low. It was at 14%. Medium income, $37,000. I kind of knew that there were going to be some students that were hungry coming to class, not dressed as well as they should. Be pretty cold, things like that. Some primary industry factors. Ranching and farming is huge in Deer Lodge. So going in, I knew that there's going to be a lot of students that kind of had their eyes set on staying at home and running the ranch. And so being able to relate some math to ranching was very helpful for them. Also, in Deer Lodge Healthcare, they have a pretty big hospital. We have the Montana State Prison. We have social assistance and educational services. I knew as well that many students' parents were teachers here in Deer Lodge. So being able to teach a student who also has a parent at home can be pretty high pressure because you know that when those students go back home to their parents that are teachers, you might be getting looked at pretty hard there. So it was important for me to make sure I was always teaching my best for those students and the rest of the class. Not many jobs offered in Deer Lodge, pretty small town, so I kind of knew that my numbers would be pretty low as far as just class size and things like that. The school, majority of the teachers have been here a long time. A lot of them were here when I was there, so I knew that could be an advantage and disadvantage for some students. The lunch program, 50% of the students in this school are on free and reduced lunch. That's really high. So it's important that, I kind of knew where the students were coming from. If they were tired in the morning or, didn't eat breakfast or going home for the weekends, didn't know when they were going to eat dinner. Those were always things I was thinking about. Also, Deer Lodge is a Title I school. There are 2 full-time Title I teachers for junior high. So knowing that makes it a little different because you don't have to differentiate for those students in your class because there's a title teacher that'll take care of it. And going in the first couple of days observing, I saw that the class was very well controlled, and that they kind of all followed the Warden Way motto, which is be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. The number of the students was 10 boys, 10 girls. It's pretty split. I also gained a boy towards the end of my field experience. And the classroom, the climate, the large classroom was very big. Big windows, lots of helpful, bright posters, smart board. And so I kind of thought that was going to be pretty much the same as when I was in school. So, and it was. I didn't realize that the large windows with the beautiful mountains were going to be such a distraction for me more than anything. Beautiful mountains looking out there. Yeah, can't help yourself but look at them a little bit. Some classroom expectations. They're very clear, identical to every classroom in the school. They follow the PECS program as well as the Warden Way motto. Every class in the whole school district has that. So the students definitely had some consistency as far as expectations and rules. Going into the field experience, after the first couple of days, I saw the evidence-based practices my teacher used very well. Was presents new material using small steps. That's very essential in math. Also provides excellent scaffold, another important practice that you need to have for teaching math or when you're teaching math. And then checking student understanding at the end of the lesson. Teachers always check understanding after a lesson in unique ways. She did this very well, and I kind of took some things that she did to use that. And she also, the last point was building respectful relationships with students. I thought she did that tremendously. She's a very demanding teacher that kind of demands a lot and the best for her students. So the students are very, very lucky to have her. And so I knew that this class that I had would be very, very well behaved and would work hard. And when they didn't work hard, they knew that they would get some kind of a talking to. So that was very cool. The next is the unit. The pre-test, the unit was on integers and absolute value. And then the unit, kind of breaking up into 5 lessons, just like the book had it, the math book. So that was very cool. The pre-test we took was 15 questions long, and the overall class mean was 42%, which is pretty low. Based on what I was looking at the pre-test, I thought this would be pretty easy. I thought they were going to knock it out of the park. There was 13 students in the pre-instructional subgroup. There were 7 students in the instructional subgroup. And then the pre-instructional subgroup, the average was a 29%. And in the instructional subgroup, the average was 66%. So yeah, I knew going into this that I could definitely help them out and we could bump those scores up. So kind of my unit goal was giving guided instruction, hands-on activities. I wanted the students to describe, identify, and compare integers' absolute values as measured by a test with a proficiency of 85% or better. And then lesson 1, I had them, it was on graphing and evaluating integers. And so I wanted them to have a 90% completion rate as measured by a formative assessment. And we knocked that one out of the park right away. So I thought that was very cool. Lesson 1 was kind of just an introduction and very simple for the students. Lesson 2, I said that given guided instruction and hands-on practice, students will use addition to solve positive and negative integer expressions from the independent practice and extra practice with a 90% completion rate. So we were, adding and solving positive and negative integer expressions. And so kind of the gist of going through a lesson was in the book, it had a real world example. So we'd go through that example and then we'd kind of get into some other examples as far as expressions. We'd go through that and it kind of cook through it. And then we'd have some got it problems students would do, which was pretty fast. And then we'd get into our homework, and our homework was always independent practice and extra practice problems. It varied on the number of problems they did, but that was the homework deal. And so then the rest of that, I wanted my students to get a 90% completion rate. And so I messed up on my TWS. No, not a 90% for completion rate. I want a proficiency of a 90%. And so I think 3 out of the 5 lessons we met that, but 2 out of the 5 lessons we didn't. And that was lesson 4 and 5, right before the test. That was, lesson 4 was multiplying integers, and lesson 5 was dividing integers. So I kind of thought that we rushed it towards the end a little bit, but that's okay. We ended up talking before we began lesson 5. We talked about lesson 4, and we got that taken care of. And so students got to correct papers at all times as well. Some students I wanted them to correct it with me at study hall. Study hall was at the end of the day. So that was very neat to do that. And then we actually finished our post-test yesterday. And the post-test, same as our pre-test. And so I was very nervous because I thought the students knew the material. I just didn't want them to hurry through it because they might have thought that it was pretty easy. So the overall class mean was an 85%. That is a gain score of 33%. I thought that was awesome. We had no one in the proficient subgroup, but in the instructional subgroup, mean gain score was 92%, and the pre-instructional subgroup mean gain score was 78%. So definitely an improvement. Thought that was awesome to see. I'm very, very flattered that their grades went up that high. I thought that was very, very awesome. So next slide, co-teaching, how it went, methods used. The first couple days of observation, we did a lot of one teach, one observe, especially with the 8th grade class and the algebra classes. I observed that a lot. And then once we got into my 7th grade class, actually the first day, we did some co-teaching, and I taught and she assisted. I just kind of was winging it and went through the book and taught. I made a few mistakes. Made one mistake on a simple addition problem that students thought that was very funny, and so kind of didn't really know what to do there. Kind of got a little bit embarrassed, but I learned from that and ended up working out pretty well. So we also, one teach, one observe was huge kind of throughout the whole day until we got to our 7th grade classes. Then I would teach and she would assist. So one teach, one assist. We did this a lot because there'd be a few students that would miss a day or turn their homework in late or not understand a certain lesson, and they would go to the back table and work with Miss Johnson. So that worked very well. We also did some station teaching. This is when we used counters. This was huge. When we used manipulative kits, we split the groups and the class in half, and I took a table, she took a table, and we kind of taught the lesson there. 10 students a table wasn't too bad. So that was very cool. A lot of team teaching. Towards the end of the year, or end of the field experience, I kind of started teaching the whole class, the whole grade. And so she helped out tremendously, and it was kind of nice to get a different perspective on different grades and different kind of units we were working on in math. So I thought that was very neat. Our co-teaching was awesome. She was very easy to work with as a teacher. So I thought that was awesome as well. Student behavior and work ethic. Student didn't have any problems with student behavior, other than, a couple talking while I was trying to teach here and there, but they were super easy to get their attention back, and kind of get them focused again. The work ethic was kind of split at times. I knew that the poverty rate and having some of these students, with parents always working at night or sometimes not even at home, that sometimes homework wasn't going to get done. And I thought that wasn't kind of based on their work ethic. But whenever we were in class, we were working hard. Didn't really have problems with students turning in late work, and that was awesome. I give big tribute to Miss Johnson, kind of setting the bar high before I even got there and making it a smooth transition for me. So I thought that was awesome. That's kind of the end of my slideshow, but I had a great time at the field experience. Co-teaching went well, unit went really well, and so I just really excited for the next chapter, the student teaching aspect of it. So I wish you guys good luck on the rest of your field experience and the rest of your, student teaching. Have a great Christmas break, and I look forward to hearing you guys. Thank you.